I'm your host, Margo Adams Larson, and you're listening to the Inspired Hive podcast, the space where passion meets purpose. Here we share stories, strategies, and insights from leaders and entrepreneurs who are transforming their fields. Whether you're building your career or your business, the Inspired Hive podcast is your go-to for actionable advice and powerful inspiration. Today I'm chatting with Dr. Tricia Lee. She is the CEO of Development Homes Incorporated, a now 50-year strong service provider for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Dr. Lee is a lifelong educator in the field of special education, and she brings a wealth of experience as a teacher, administrator in the public schools, and a clinical supervisor and assistant professor in the university setting. Her leadership roles in leading others and organizations in the nonprofit and service industries has been a theme of her life's mission. She is passionate about helping individuals with disabilities live their best lives. Let's dive in. I met Tricia when we were in college, and I have to say her fun-loving, easygoing personality made for fast friends. Her positive, always optimistic enthusiasm to find a way has inspired so many. And I've been so grateful to watch her career and leadership adventures. And while I have my own stories of how her think outside the box approach has changed my family's life, I really want to highlight the hope, inspiration, and love that she brings to all of those that she serves. I know you'll find some amazing nuggets to encourage your path as we chat today. Tricia, I'm just so excited you're here. Welcome to the Inspired Hive podcast.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. I've been thinking about this for a while, and so I was so glad when you reached out to me, and I just thought now's the time.
Fantastic. Well, I ask everyone as we get started in the conversation where their story begins.
Oh my goodness. Well, how far back does it begin? That's interesting. That's interesting to think about. I started out my journey wanting to be a second grade teacher, and that was my heart and my passion ever since I was a little girl. I thought that's where I need to be. Then in college, I ended up finding out about this whole different world called special education. And my advisor in college said, you might want to think about double majoring and
Mhm.
looking at this area also, just to make yourself a little more marketable. And I thought, oh, well, that makes good sense. So I ended up doing that and I found my passion. I had a lot of experiences in different schools, just working with individuals with intellectual disabilities, and I loved it. And when I went to do some regular ed student teaching, I just felt so like I was missing where I was supposed to be. So
Mm.
I started out teaching special ed, helping create a program they hired me to create a special education program in a school where a little girl who was in a wheelchair and had a lot of physical challenges and a lot of needs. But the school said, we have to hire you because this is her homeschool and we have to do this and we think you can do it. And I was so struck by that right away. Just, what do you mean? You have to do this, and don't expect much. She won't be able to do much. And it made me so mad and it made me so determined. And so
Mhm.
right from the get-go, then I thought, hey, I'm here to make a difference. And we had a lot of really big mountains to climb there, but it was such a life-changing experience for me. And so then I just never looked back after that. I just thought, I have to know more, I have to do more, and really, really have a heart and make a difference for kids with disabilities and now adults that I work with.
Mhm.
But I started out teaching special ed. I ended up working on a master's, picking up learning disabilities and emotional disturbance. Um, and after I completed that, my advisor from college reached out and asked if I would work with a program she had. It was a mentoring program just to work with master's level new teachers, and could I take a leave of absence and do that? And at the time, I thought I'm too young to do that. I've only been out of in my own on my own for a number of years, and I thought, no, I can't do that. And then I thought, well, why can't I? It's a leave of absence. I can come back to my classroom. And so I signed on to do that, and I stayed for 13 years. And it was so great because I had the chance to go around the region, several places in North Dakota, and just coming alongside these teachers who were picking up degrees in learning disabilities, emotional disturbance, intellectual disabilities, and just come and just be a practical voice and kind of help them make that connection between coursework and the day-to-day getting in there with kids. And I loved that. And I probably still would be doing that now had I not started work on a nonprofit board here at Development Homes. And I ended up serving as the board president in kind of a pivotal time period for the organization, helping with a search for a new CEO, and then having some conversations with folks where they said, maybe you should think about this. And again, I said, well, I'm I'm an educator. I'm not really a CEO. But the more I talked with people, the more that I looked into it, it made sense to make that shift also. And I'm here in that role now. And it's working out so wonderfully because we have some of our individuals supported who were my original students when I was a teacher in special education back in the day. It's been just a wonderful journey.
There's so much in your journey of, the things that find you, even though you weren't looking, that you leaned in and took those opportunities, and you had, folks inspiring you and giving you that maybe encouragement or, I don't know, maybe you didn't run fast enough, but
That could be true.
giving that kind of mission to you to be able to step into that next level and that next kind of breadth. And that's all come full circle back to,
Yeah.
seeing kind of each side of that journey for your students as well. And, I think I also hear the flame in there too, where, helping folks who don't have as wise a perspective be able to see what more can be done.
Mhm.
That you really, I think, have shone so many lights into that for people that it's been such a pleasure to really follow follow your
Yeah.
journey and things that, when you were dreaming of being a second grade teacher, you would never have thought about all these things.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Trisha, what inspires you?
Oh, I think when you see people be able to do the thing that they never thought they would, or the opportunities that they never thought they could have, to be a part of that and to watch that inspires me every day in what we're doing, the work we do here at Development Homes. We've got so many individuals who maybe they thought they would never live on their own, and they're in an apartment now and they have staff that are helping them, but they're in their own place, or they never thought that they could have a job that they enjoy, and so joyful to go to work and be working alongside everybody else. That just really inspires me on those days where you think, oh, there's reports to do, there's paperwork, there's this. I get to walk down the hall and run into somebody who's living their best life, and to be able to help initiate things to make that life better for them. That inspires me. And one of the things here that's very unique, I think, in our company is we've had people working here for more than 40 years because they believe so much in the mission.
Yeah.
And having people that have that longevity and just that history of things, that inspires me to be able to work with those folks and hear from them, here's the reason why this company was started, here's what we're doing, and we're
Mhm.
keeping on moving forward. And that's pretty impactful too. But mostly it's people. It always comes down to people for me. What are people achieving, and what are they enjoying about their life, and how can I have a part of that?
And that is such a big deal because it's both a culture and a mission in
Mhm,
in kind of what's created within that environment. And there's the full circle of people that you've served in your career, but there's also this full circle of folks within their career growing within that employment setting, but also in a culture that is about helping and growth and inspiring others, which is a very unique experience.
mhm,
I
mhm.
love that you also have seen several sides of that, meaning, being a volunteer and serving on a board and in a leadership role is very different to
Right.
being the grand poobah of or the teacher of all of it, right? And
Mhm,
that's a big transition. I
mhm,
wonder if you'd speak into that a little.
mhm. Yeah, so for me, I started as a volunteer on the board, just in a typical board seat. Um, and I did it because the person who was the special ed director before me, when I was a special ed director, said that was something that she did. And since we served some of the same
Mhm.
kids, it makes sense to, spend time on that. And so I thought, okay, that's the right thing to do then. Um, and then, as you come along in that sort of a role, you get those opportunities to be on the executive committee, or how does that look? And then so I ended up being a vice president, and someone who had been in the president role ended up having to step down for a variety of reasons. And so I just kind of kept on, okay, well, I guess I better do my responsibility now and take that on. But just thinking of the transformation of being a board member to, someone in a leadership role on that board, and then being the CEO, it's just an ever evolving role. What I have learned, I think, the most, at first I thought I have to learn a heck of a lot more about finance, about systems, and the things that I don't have in my background as an educator. Even though I have a doctorate in education, some of these things were totally foreign to me. But what I have really leaned into is knowing that I grow every day. Every day I try to get a little bit better, and I surround myself with the people who are the experts in those areas. And then that is what makes us all a success together. We have very talented people in the organization and on our board. And if I need to, have my CFO sit with me and we work on some things together, that's the best thing ever, because she can put on her expertise hat, and I
Mhm.
can come with the questions. And but I think that's been one of the biggest things for me, is just knowing I don't have to know everything about that. The things that I bring to the table are enough, and I can augment with who and what I need to be able to do the rest. And so that's been good, and I think very freeing also,
Mhm.
just to have that level of pressure of, you know, I I'm I'm not a executive, businesswoman by training. And so, but that doesn't mean I can't be one.
Yes, I love that. Not by training, but maybe by fire and baptism, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it is really about stepping into roles that grow you and help you with maybe some of those lessons of what you do need more of or to know more about, but also surrounding yourself with amazing people that, have expertise in the
Mm.
areas that we don't. I think I see so much of that in the success of many businesses, the success of many organizations, and for folks that are in the world of being of service to others, it makes so much sense because we can't do it all, but
Right.
we can coordinate a lot
Mm.
of folks to make a big difference.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there a big lesson or blessing that
Mhm.
you have experienced in life that you're open to sharing with others?
Oh boy. Hmm. That's a good question. That's a deep question. I think it's really something to be able to be at the stage of life that I'm in right now and to be able to look back and see how all of those pieces have been connected to lead me to be able to do the work that I'm doing now. I
Wow.
see you think of some of the building blocks as you will when you're in it, you don't realize what's being built or why
Mhm.
something is happening, but I really see um, the reasons for, all of the pieces that happened. So I guess I would just say, if you're in something and it feels really stressful or really difficult and you're just wondering why is this happening, there's usually a greater purpose that's happening that you don't see when you're in the midst of it, but just to be able to see how that all plays together has really been something for me. um, and the idea of you don't have to be at the end of your life to look back and see all of this,
Right.
you know um, but it's been really something to see how that all is woven together because you know in the midst of it all, like I say, sometimes you just don't think there's any sense or rhyme or reason to it. So I think, just try and appreciate where you're at the time and glean what you can from it. And, it does work out for good in the end if you can withstand it at the time.
It's kind of like I use the analogy of a quilt that, some of those squares are really complex and challenging
Yes.
to do, and you don't always know what that's going to be.
Mhm.
But when you get it put together or partway through,
Mhm.
it really starts to make sense. And the skills that you pick up along that way are so
Mhm.
huge,
Yeah,
so
really,
huge.
really big. Yes.
I always give folks a chance to brag on things that are going on at the moment
Mm.
or new things that are
Mhm.
coming. And I thought,
Yeah.
what better point to tell us more about a bakery
Yes.
and how
Oh
that
my
comes to
goodness.
be?
Yes. Yes.
Even though I know you're an amazing cook and have always thrown great parties.
Right. This is a whole different kind of party. Yes. Well, it's probably been at least 2 years or a little better since we started dreaming about this bakery project. And how it all originated was my chief financial officer came to me one day, and she's very plugged in into the community and volunteers all over town on different things. And she had come to me one day and said she had been talking with someone about how great it would be if we could, have our individuals supported working in that type of a setting. And is that something that I would be interested in pursuing? Is that something we could do? Could we ever open a bakery? Because we had some of our individuals here who just loved doing like little pop-up events and things, or bake sales. And um, so it really became something that we started exploring. I said, why can't we look at it? We can at least look at it. Let's see where we can get. um, and then we ended up working with some SCORE mentors in the community, business mentors, and started putting together some plans like what could this look like. And we had some veteran baker people in the community who had done this before, and we tried to visit with them and work with them for quite a while to figure out, is this something that makes sense for us? And then things just kept on sort of evolving and working out. It's like, okay, now there's a space that you could rent, where the owner already sort of knew who we were. And um, a food distributor who we just so happened to have served his brother as one of our
Mm.
individuals at Development Homes. And he said, well, I would love to work with you guys on this project, and I would devote some extra time, for training and things like that, because this sounds like something I have to be a part of. And so it just kind of kept on going and going. And then we ended up opening our doors last December. So we're coming up on a year anniversary
Mhm.
already. And what we've got going there is it's individuals with disabilities and it's people from the community. And it's this wonderful blend of everybody working together. And what's been the most pleasant surprise is, I hoped that we could create a good product for people. My main focus was creating jobs for these amazing individuals. And I sort of just thought, if we can create something good at the same time, if we can have good bread, that would be awesome. So, we've ended up having a pretty full menu. There's custom cakes that we're making. We have some really good decorators working with us. We have excellent donuts and breads, and there's a hard roll that people just love. But what's been really, really phenomenal is we're getting community awards for our bakery. And I'm so blown away by that because we haven't even been open for a year. But our local paper does best of awards, so we just got the best of Herald for the bakery and for donuts. I said to somebody the other day, I always feel like we're evolving and growing with this. And I said, I feel like sometimes we're driving the bus missing a wheel. When I said, if this is what our bus looks like now, what could we do later if we got all the wheels and all the people in the right seats? And but it's just been amazing to see the confidence that these individuals are gaining. And we've got some partnerships going on with the bakery too. So the local school district, for example, they send kids over from their adult transition program. They're learning job skills too, and that's been a great partnership. And if we decide later to give them a direct hire, if they really love being there, we have options. And so that's really fun too to see how it's impacting the community.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
that culture of collaborating and coming
yes,
together and
yes.
really, providing a meaningful space for everyone,
Mhm,
which I just
mhm.
so love.
Yeah. Well, and people are so nostalgic about the idea of having a bakery too, because we haven't really had one in our town for years.
Mhm.
And, people will say, oh, these date bars remind me, or these date cookies remind me of what my grandma used to make, or because we do have some unique items in there that we're offering that are more unique that you can't get other places.
Well, I remember folks talking about Development Homes Incorporated and really the kind of concept as it started being a place for folks to be able to live and
Mhm.
receive some services, and it's really enveloping into a full community of opportunities, which
Mhm.
I think I remember someone saying, well, somebody thought they built homes, but
Oh, yeah,
you're
yes,
really building a community of
yeah.
collaboration. And I just,
Mhm.
it's such a meaningful mission.
Mhm.
And I just love seeing how it's growing
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much.
yeah, it's been really good. And for us too, it's not just about the individuals we support. That's our first part of our mission, our primary mission, helping empower individuals with disabilities, but also impacting our community. And I think that's one of the things I've been most proud of too within the last couple of years, is I think we really are making that difference and the ripple effects are going out into the whole community. And we've noticed a lot more engagement by community members or
Mhm.
people knowing who we are. And
As we're wrapping up, do you have one piece of advice that you'd want to share with listeners? Maybe something someone shared with you or that you've come upon
hmm,
in your world?
yeah, well, I think just since so much of my focus has been on the world of disabilities and making a difference in that realm, I just would encourage everybody to really think about how disability touches everyone. And, whether you have someone in your life who has a disability, or, something might happen where something will change, and either you yourself will have a change, or, something could happen. So I just really encourage everybody to be advocates for that, and just really learn about it and embrace, and just really help us all to further the mission of better lives for everybody, because it is going to impact everybody as we go along in the world. And I just wish everybody would, look at people first, their people first, and how can we all have that impact, and just that awareness and heart, I guess, for
Mm.
everyone. That's a big deal.
Oh, I love that so much. And it leads into I wrap every episode with a quote.
Mhm.
And I couldn't pick just one for today because there's a couple of very meaningful ones to me.
Mhm.
Um, Something that you gave to me in our years together has a quote on it, and it says, "One friend can change your whole life."
Mm.
And that really echoes a lot of all the things that you've talked about today.
Mhm.
I'm hoping I can get through sharing the other
Mm.
quote that I picked, which is from Helen Keller. And it
Mm.
is, "Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement.
Mm.
Nothing can be done without hope and
Mm.
confidence." And you
Mhm.
shine that out for
Oh,
everybody you work with, Tricia.
I love that. Mhm.
I am so grateful for you hopping on today.
Yes.
And I am just thrilled at all of the things that you are pulling together in the
Mhm.
community. I think it makes such a big difference. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Inspired Hive podcast. Stay connected by following us at Inspired Hive Podcast on social media. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring content. I'll see you soon. And remember, go be inspired.